Hello, my name is Aviel Parente, and this is the Light of the Torah. Family politics. It plagues us all, unfortunately. We all have within our families these disputes, these feuds that seem to be ongoing endlessly forever. And it's a sad reality, but unfortunately, it seems to be part of human nature. So much so that it becomes part of our tradition. Last week we end off with all of Yosef's brothers in front of him. They don't know that they're speaking to Yosef. They think that they're speaking to the viceroy of Egypt, the second in command, and they're asking for food and for sustenance. And what's just happened is Yosef has just given the final test. He's blamed Benjamin for stealing the golden goblet. And obviously, he set the entire thing up. Most of the dialogue and the back and forth between the brothers and Yosef at the end of last week's Parsha was Yosef basically just messing around with them, going back to sort of his roots of being that Yosef that we met in Parshat Vayigash a couple of weeks ago. But the more and more that they interact, Yosef, who's matured himself and grown himself as a human being, realizes that his brothers have also. And we see that exemplified, obviously, in this week's Parsha. We open up this week's Parsha with Yehuda approaching Yosef and saying, please don't take Binyamin. We're not leaving him here. We cannot leave him here. I'll do anything. Yehuda basically gives himself up, which is a complete transformation, because Yehuda, it was his idea to sell Yosef into slavery. It was his idea to give away his brother, and we see him this time not selling out his brother, and this all leads up Yosef to be overcome with emotion. Yosef litapek. He couldn't contain himself, and he breaks out into tears. He said, "I'm Yosef, ha'odavichai. I'm Yosef. Is my father still alive?" That's his initial reaction. And after he reveals himself to his brothers are obviously in shock, and they all start crying with each other, and it's a very emotional scene. But we see that the brothers are obviously worried. Yosef is now the one in charge. Joseph is now the one in power. Just like he had dreamt of in the beginning of Parshat Vayigash, they see that these dreams were actually prophecies and they came true. Now they're really worried that Yosef is going to retaliate. Yosef is going to get them back for what they did. And Yosef, who sees how much they've matured, and obviously he knows that he's grown and transformed and developed into a much greater person than he was, he reassures them. Yosef tells his brothers, it wasn't you guys who sent me to Mitzrayim. It was God. God sent me to Mitzrayim. God sent me to Egypt. This entire journey was God's plan. And because it was God's plan, now I'm the viceroy. I'm the head of Paro's household. I'm in charge of everything. And that was the plan all along. Now, he's not excusing them. I think that it's fairly obvious from the text. He's not excusing them from their actions, from selling him out, from being really, really, really not just bad brothers, but just bad people in general. He's not excusing that at all. But he is forgiving them. He's saying what's happened has happened. There's nothing that's going to change that. But all that we can do is move forward. I've changed. You guys have very obviously changed. It's time to move forward. And I think that resonates very well with most, if not all, people. I think that's a lesson that can be carried out in every individual and in every relationship that we have with other people, but specifically with family. Family is special because it's not something that you get to choose. It's something that you're thrown into. Your parents, your siblings, your grandparents, your aunts, uncles, cousins. Your entire family unit is something that you're initiated into at birth, and it's something that you don't get to leave until you pass away. It's important to recognize that you and your relatives and your siblings and parents and your family members are probably going to clash. You're probably going to have sometimes, and unfortunately for some people, it's a lot of the time, conflict between family members. And that doesn't just spoil the relationship between the two family members, it also ruins the entire family dynamic. Everyone has to be awkward around the two of them. They have to pick sides. Like, it's not a fun experience for anyone. And I think that overcoming those obstacles that come with family is one that is a great challenge. But if Yosef could do it, they were going to kill him. His brothers were going to kill him until his eldest brother, Reuven, saves him. Then they sold him into slavery after him being in a pit. And his entire experience through Mitzrayim, through slavery, in the jail, all of that is because of his brothers. And he was able to forgive them for all of that, not to excuse them, but to forgive them. That should be a lesson for all of us. Something to take away, something to work on. And again, it's a struggle, it's a challenge. There's no way it's going to be easy. But once we can let that in, and once we realize that blood is in fact thicker than water, the friends that you make, they are the family that you get to choose. The reason you get to choose them is based on your compatibility. But with your family, you have to make that work, because they are the people that you are going to have from beginning to end, no matter what. And forgiveness is a major part of that. Now, again, it's not to excuse anything that a family member has done or that maybe you have done, but it's important to try to move past it because our time here is finite. And Yosef realized that. His first reaction is, I'm Yosef, is my father still alive? He realizes that life is short. Life is too short to be caught up in these feuds that ruin these special relationships. And it takes a great level of maturity. It's important not to stoop down to the level of immaturity that might have caused the relationship to take a turn for the worse. It's important to recognize that we might need to step up, and we might need to be the bigger man, be the person that has matured, and try to reach out and try to correct what has been corrupted. Because family is all too valuable to lose. That's a very valuable lesson. More valuable than sometimes we understand in the moment. I hope that we can all take away from this and reassess our personal relationships with our family members. Family comes before all. And so I hope that we can all find that strength to overcome those obstacles, to either correct what has been corrupted before or to prevent any future issues. And with that, I wish you all a Shabbat Shalom.